With patch 10.0.7 upon us, I wanted to make this video to show you how best to level your ults in Dragonflight to get them ready for the new endgame content and systems. So if you're looking to level up some ults quickly, or if you're a new or returning player to World of Warcraft, this video is for you. It's worth noting that to make your ult leveling experience more efficient, I would recommend activating Adventure Mode, which requires one of your characters to have fully completed the Dragonflight leveling campaign. If you're not sure if you've completed this already, check your achievement pane for the 4 zone questline achievements: Waking Hope for the Waking Shores, Honor Roll for the Ohn'ahran Plains, Azure Spanner for the Azure Span, and Just Don't Ask Me to Spell It for Thaldraszus. The other thing that is handy to have done before leveling ults is to finish collecting all of the dragon glyphs from around the Dragon Isles. These glyphs are account-wide, meaning that once you've collected them on one character, your ults will have access to the same amount of dragon riding talent points as your main. So if you've collected them all, your ults will be able to completely spec out their dragon riding talent tree as soon as they're ready to start leveling through the Dragon Isles. If you need any help finding any of the glyphs or figuring out how to reach them, I have linked my Dragon Glyph locations video in the description below. Alternatively, you can use an add-on like Handy Notes to mark the location of each glyph on your map for you. The link to that add-on is also in the description below. The first and most obvious way to level your ults in patch 10.0.7 is via the main Dragonflight questing campaign and other open world content. The difference is that once you've activated Adventure Mode, your ults will be able to play through the main story campaign as well as doing world quests, whereas your main wouldn't have had access to these until they hit level 70 and finished the campaign for the first time. The combination of campaign quests, side quest lines, bonus objectives and world quests makes for very efficient leveling, especially with dragon riding allowing players to travel so quickly between quest hubs and the various zones of the Dragon Isles. If you're open to the potential of open world PvP, you can even turn on War Mode to earn even more experience, but this isn't essential for fast leveling. One of the most effective ways I leveled in open world content was simply by following the main story throughout the Dragon Isles, and then completing all other types of open world content when I encountered them. This means that you don't spend too much time flying around aimlessly trying to tick off lots of small objectives and world quests, and then having to find your way back to your current questing area. If you don't feel like doing all of the Dragon Isles open world content, I would recommend dropping the side quest lines, as these can often divert you away from your main questing area, and some side quest lines can be quite lengthy. Try to complete as many world quests and bonus objectives as you encounter, because they are always guaranteed to be quick and straightforward, and they often reward strong gear upgrades, which is useful considering that heirlooms do not work past level 59. Open world leveling also pairs very well with gathering professions like herbalism and mining. You will find lots of nodes while questing in the Dragon Isles, which will each offer a small amount of experience for gathering, and if you have a crafting profession to go with your gathering profession, you can even earn experience from first-time crafts as well, but we'll go into that in more detail later on. By following the open world leveling strategy, you will easily reach level 70 way before you reach the end of the main storyline, but don't worry. Once you're level 70 on your ult and your main has already completed all of the questlines before, there's no real need to go back and finish the campaign again unless you really want to. The second leveling method I wanted to highlight are dungeons. This can be a very effective leveling tool, but it is quite dependent on your role and whether you're queuing alone or with a group. Naturally, tanks and healers will have the quickest queue times, so if you play a class that can spec into either of these two roles and you wish to level through dungeons, perhaps consider switching roles to get into dungeons more quickly. Dungeons are pretty quick to complete and offer a good amount of experience upon completion, in addition to some of the strongest gear upgrades you'll find while leveling. Another way dungeons can be super beneficial is during a Timewalking event. Granted, these are not always available, but when they are, the experience awarded at the end of a Timewalking dungeon is significant. You can check when the next Timewalking event will be active on your calendar, as they will always begin on the first day of your region's weekly reset. If Timewalking is currently active, you can queue for a random Timewalking dungeon through the group finder, the same way you would queue for a regular dungeon. For a limited time between the 28th of March and the 10th of May 2023, Blizzard are launching a special Timewalking event called Turbulent Timeways, where each week from the 28th of March, one expansion's worth of Timewalking dungeons will be available to play. So if there was ever a time to level your alts through Timewalking dungeons, that time is now. As I mentioned earlier, professions can also be an effective way of leveling your alts, especially given that there are so many nodes to gather with mining and herbalism around the Dragon Isles. But you can also earn experience by crafting with professions as well. For the first 30 first-time crafts you make, you will earn a good chunk of experience, and if you've already farmed the materials by gathering or spending gold on the auction house, all you have left to do is craft. This method of leveling has been nerfed, however, as it used to be the case that the first 60 first-time crafts would grant experience, but this has since been halved as lots of players were cheesing this strategy to get more experience out of it. Even so, it is still possible to craft 30 times with one profession, then unlearn the profession to learn a different one, and reset those 30 first-time crafts to farm even more experience. And if you have the time or the gold to spend, you can exhaust every crafting profession in the game if you wanted to. Don't worry about any profession knowledge you pick up along the way during your gathering and crafting, as these can be reset once you pick up the same profession again, so you won't lose your progress. My advice with this method of alt leveling is to wait until you're around level 68 or 69, because the experience you will get at higher levels will be more valuable and make the last few levels fly by. If you learn a crafting profession that your class can benefit from, such as blacksmithing for plate wearers, leatherworking for leather wearers, or tailoring for cloth wearers, you can then craft yourself pretty strong gear, especially when you're a fresh level 70. Lots of crafted pieces can be made at roughly 343 item level, which will give you a nice quick boost of item level when you first hit max level and give you an easier time farming stronger gear elsewhere. There is one more leveling method I wanted to shed some light on, but it is one I haven't tried myself and I wouldn't necessarily recommend either, but it may still be of interest to some players. It is possible to fly your ult to Nokhudon Hold in the Ohn'ahran Plains or the Cobalt Assembly in the Azure Span to farm experience from the level 70 elite mobs in the area. The Cobalt Assembly has been nerfed recently after players were abusing the system to farm experience quickly while pretty much going AFK and letting other players kill mobs for them. But if you would like to try, just be mindful that you will likely be killed very easily if you aggro any of these mobs, or even if you get hit by an AoE mechanic. So find a safe spot to stand where you can tag mobs that are already aggroed by another player. The safest time to farm experience in either of these areas is when either of the corresponding elite world quests are active, as this will draw more max level characters to the area for the sake of completing the world quest or for farming. To maximize your experience gain, do not join any groups, as this will limit the experience you earn from killing mobs. The only disadvantage to this is that mobs may be tagged by other groups and offer no experience to you once killed. You'll know which mobs will and will not grant experience by whether their nameplates are in colour or greyed out. I would highly recommend trying any of the other leveling methods in this video first, as they are much more reliable, probably more time efficient, and also offer better gear upgrades. So there you have it. Those are my top 4 ways I would recommend leveling your alts in patch 10.0.7 to get them ready for endgame. Thank you so much for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!